this. We were almost 3,200 men on this ship. But at the given signal, 3,200 men became one.
There would be 50 or 60 Zeros sitting up over the target waiting for us with an altitude advantage. And we'd have to dogfight these guys, plane by plane, minute by minute, until we got the bombers reformed and out of there again. If you were going to survive, you'd have to stay with your wingman. Your wingman would have to stay with you. If you win, you win. If you don't get back. I lost my very best friend the first day of combat. Never seen again. That's part of war. Not the easy part.
The special attack was not an attack. It was an act of defense. They were acting to defend their loved ones, parents, siblings, the weak, to protect them.
And the times we were hit, we lost a lot of very close crew members. And the average, I would say the average crew member on that ship at the time was probably 19 years of age. We were very young. If somebody got killed, you know, you didn't have somebody to run to and pour your heart out to. You had your shipmates. And they were scared, you were scared, but you always did what you had to do. You always did your duty, and if you didn't, this ship wouldn't be here today.
During the Cold War, we practiced the launching of conventional weapons, but we also practiced low-level simulated strikes into the Soviet Union with nuclear weapons. And the threat of the Soviet Union was real, and we felt that when we were deployed to the Mediterranean that we were in the front line of defense.
We felt like we were out there making sure that the Russians wouldn't drop anything on the United States, because we were out there ready to retaliate if we had to. And it was a feeling of doing something important. That was really one of the most pervasive feelings, that we were out there really making a difference in preventing World War III from starting.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Preeminence in space was a condition of our freedom. The people on the other side of the Iron Curtain thought the same thing, and it was that competition which drove us more than even the curiosity that goes with pioneering. The first thought that I had when I got into orbit was not something involving pioneering. It was, hooray, we Americans have another man in orbit, and now we're tied with the Soviets.
We were right at the height of the Cold War, and the communists had vowed that they were going to take over and conquer the world. We had the choice: either we were going to go to Vietnam and try and help South Vietnam, or we could stand by and do nothing and let the communists just do what they wanted and take over the world, which we weren't going to do.
They were flying 18 hours a day. The poor guys that worked on the flight deck had they would just fall out on a plane's wing for a half-hour cat nap between launches and then be back. And but then again, we always knew we had friends that were laying in the mud over there. Most of us had people that wanted to join the Marines or the Army or different places, so we were doing our job to maybe make their job a little easier.
I think most of the American people realized that what we did there, we did in the best interest of the people we were trying to help. It just didn't work out, so I think there were lessons learned. when I came home, I really had an appreciation for what our country really is, the freedoms we have, and why, you know, so many of us were willing to go there and fight to protect these things that we take for granted every day. And as Paul Galani, one of the other POWs, has said, he says, you can never have a bad day when you got a doorknob on the inside the door. That's profound.